Hola clase. Today we're going to be learning about the imperfect progressive in Spanish. But before we start the imperfect progressive, we're actually going to review el presente progresivo. So remember, the present progressive is used to talk about actions that are happening at the moment. So things that are happening right now. So for instance, these are some examples in English. Mr. Sanchez is reviewing the present perfect. I am paying attention. You are writing. What do those three sentences have in common? Well, they have two things in common. One, they have a verb ending in ing, right? So like reviewing, paying, writing, and they all have the verb to be conjugated in the present tense. So like is, am, or are. So when forming a sentence in the present progressive in Spanish, you're also going to have both of those things, right? The helping or auxiliary verb estar plus the second or main verb in the present participle. So with the present progressive, we're going to conjugate the verb estar in the present tense. So the conjugations were estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, están. And the present participle, the ing ending for AR verbs is ando, and for ER and IR verbs, it's yendo. So that's nothing new. You learned that last term, right? So Mr. Sanchez is reviewing the present perfect. If we were to say this in Spanish, it would be El señor Sánchez está repasando el presente perfecto. So here we have the verb estar plus the past participle. I am paying attention. Estoy prestando atención. You are writing. Estás escribiendo. Right? So all review so far. What's going to be new now is the imperfect progressive. And it's used to tell what was happening. So in English, the doctor was taking an x-ray, right? So the present perfect would be the doctor is taking an x-ray. This is imperfect progressive, something that was happening, right? In the past. The doctor was taking an x-ray. So in Spanish, this would be el doctor estaba sacando una radiografía. So only thing that has changed is that we're using the verb estar in the imperfect tense, right? It's called imperfect progressive. So we're using the imperfect tense of the verb rather than the present tense of the verb. So the conjugations of estar in the imperfect are estaba, estabas, estaba, estábamos, estabais, estaban, and the present participle does not change. AR verbs are still going to be ando, ER and IR verbs are going to be yendo. What's new though is that we're going to have some irregular verbs. So the stem is going to change in the present participle. So these are all irregular verbs in the present participle. So pedir means to ask for. Vestir, you want to make sure you copy all of these words down. Vestir means to dress. Decir, to say or tell. Repetir, to repeat. Servir, to serve. Seguir, to follow. Morir, to die. And dormir, to sleep. So those are the definitions. Copy the verb, the definition, and the present participle, because these are all going to be irregular verbs. So pedir is pidiendo, changes to an I. Vestir, vistiendo. Decir, diciendo. Repetir, repitiendo. Servir, sirviendo. Seguir, siguiendo. So as you can see, the E's have become I's, right? On all of those verbs. And then for morir and dormir, the O is going to become a U. So it's muriendo and durmiendo. We're going to add some more verbs. So those aren't the only verbs that are irregular in the present participle. We have creer, leer, traer, oír, and caer. So what do all those verbs have in common? They were all irregular in the preterite, right? And four of those verbs had a Y in the él, ella, ellos, ellas form of the verb. So these verbs are also going to have a Y in the present participle. But let's review the definitions in case you forgot them. So creer means to believe or to think. Leer means to read. Traer means to bring. Oír, to hear. Caer, to fall. So the present participle of creer, it's creyendo with the Y rather than an I. Leer, leyendo. Traer, trayendo. Oír, oyendo. And caer, cayendo. So as you can see, the I is going to become a Y in those 5 verbs. So add these also to your list. Pause the video if you need to, right? Or go back. So the imperfect progressive and the preterite can be used in the same sentence. The imperfect describes what was happening while the preterite tells about something specific that happened or that interrupted the continuous action. So here, yo estaba corriendo cuando tropecé. I was running when I fell. So in the imperfect progressive here, this imperfect tense, I was running, that's that continuous action, and then, or not when I fell, when I tripped. So I was running when I tripped. So then me tripping, that's a preterite, right? So that's what interrupted my running. Tú estabas usando las tijeras cuando te cortaste. So here we have the continuous action. You were using the scissors, that's continuous, when you cut yourself. And then you cut yourself at a specific point when you were using the scissors. So that's why this is preterite. That's interrupting this continuous action. Placements of direct object pronouns, indirect object pronouns, and reflexive pronouns, they are going to be placed before the auxiliary verb estar, or they're going to be attached to the present participle. And if you attach it to the present participle, you're going to add an accent on the strong vowel. So here we have, yo estaba comiendo pizza. I was eating pizza. So there's a direct object noun in the sentence. So remember, direct object nouns tell us who or what receives the action of the verb. So what is receiving the action of the verb? What is being eaten? The pizza. So I can replace the pizza with the pronoun it. So I could say I was eating it. So if I were to replace la pizza with the pronoun, it would be la. So it would be yo estaba comiéndola. And then if I'm using a direct object pronoun, I can attach it to the present participle. If I attach it, I have to add an accent on the E. Or you could say yo la estaba comiendo. You could place it before the verb estar. Indirect object pronouns. La enfermera le estaba poniendo una inyección. So we can place it before the conjugated verb estar, or you can attach it. So la enfermera estaba poniéndole una inyección, and if we attach it, you add an accent on the E. Reflexive pronouns. Mi hermana estaba bañándose cuando tú llegaste. So you can also attach them, or you can place it in front of the verb estar. And actually, remember, if you attach it, you add an accent on the A, and here I made a typo. Ignore this accent over the A. If we place the pronoun in front of it, no accent. Ignore that. And then, like my sister was bathing, right, or taking a bath when you arrive. So here we have a continuous action, and then with the preterite interruption, right? Now let's have some practice together. Yo, cuando llegaste tú a mi casa, me estaba vistiendo. Could we say it any other way? Sí. Yo estaba vistiéndome. And remember, once again, if you attach the pronoun, add an accent on the strong vowel. You don't add an accent when you place it in front of the verb estar. Tú le ayuda al profesor cuando terminó la clase. Estabas pidiendo. El camarero la comida cuando ocurrió el terremoto. El camarero estaba sirviendo. La profesora Ramírez lee a los estudiantes cuando ocurrió un incendio en la cafetería. Le estaba leyendo. Manolo y Juan, a una herida cuando se les cayó, estaban trayendo. All right, so those are the uses of the imperfect progressive. You'll be tested on this at the end of this unit. Hasta luego, chicos.